Hello, welcome to another edition of Preeminence Posse Live. Who the heck are we? We are the posse from the House of Preeminence magazine, being called the Vogue of Feminine High Performance, had received accolades like, oh my God, breathtaking from some of the world's best women leaders. We are really shaking the world of conscious media up and holistic business with my posse of 8 amazing ladies. Wednesdays we come and share our wisdom with you on topics that you really care about, you being women, change makers, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, creatives, women who want to make a difference, women who want to have it all, women who are not prepared to compromise on their finest life. So that's enough about us. We wanted to share our wisdom with you. And what we're going to talk about today is how your home is a foundation for abundance. Now, this is a particularly pertinent topic as we've seen a lot of our homes for the last 2 years. Some of us too much. Nevertheless, we are in a paradigm shift. Home working is the new normal. It is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But there is some real science. There's some real art. There's some real techniques and tips behind optimizing your home and your environment, not just your house, but your whole environment for manifestation, for bringing forth your biggest, best life. So I'm going to start the conversation with our resident expert on that topic. Gina Lazenby, who's from Yorkshire, is a best-selling author of a beautiful book, which I don't think is available anymore, on Feng Shui. She was one of the first people to bring Feng Shui into the UK. She is an expert on the healthy home. She has done some amazing projects on restoration and creating healthy homes and teaching people also how to create a healthy home around them. So I'm going to come straight to you first, Gina, and ask you to explain to us why a healthy home, and what is the correlation between our home and our well-being and abundance?
Thank you. It's an interesting subject, and I think I just want to pick up on what you said about the paradigm shift, just addressing that issue. Not everybody works from home, but for those people who are shifting to or have shifted to working from home and liking that and continuing. Previously, the home was the center of our universe, but then we would go out to work. And then I think it's been a challenge for a lot of people to squeeze the workspace, the work life into the home. And I live in my home on my own, but having somebody else also squeezing their work life into the home, that is a challenge of making it all work. But you do have to, wherever you work, however small a little desk you have, or whether you take up the whole room, if you're setting yourself up for success, means paying attention to how you lay out your space, just how you lay out the piece around you, and make that work for you. I mean, if you're creating an office at home, you need to kind of fill it with things that are pulling you forward. Just to give one practical tip, you don't want to have around you the things that are not pertinent to what's pulling you forward, having the images of where you're going. So for those people who are creating home office or have created home office, it's a big shift in the home, creating space to do that.
I love that, having your vision, what is pulling you forward. That's absolutely beautiful and really interesting. I saw a statistic today from a British board of architects who interviewed a lot of people and found that during the real lockdown period of pandemic, only over 70% of people agreed that the design of their home, they suddenly realized how much the design of their home was having an effect on their well-being, because just as you said, they suddenly found themselves with, the whole household, the whole family in the same space, all the time and having to adapt. And they suddenly became very, very aware of the whole dynamic of how the house flowed. So I just want you to tell us very quickly, for those who maybe have heard about Feng Shui and don't really know what it is. What is Feng Shui, which is, I believe, 3,000 years old?
It's the principle of understanding that the environment around us has an effect on us. You know, where you're sitting, what you're doing, the home that you create has an effect on you. It's like, there's me, there's my spirit, there's my physical body, there's my energy, there's my clothes. And then around me is the energy field that is my home that I have created. I've created my home space, my sanctuary. It has images in it that pertain to me and my life, my personality, my characteristics, where I'm moving to. It gives me shelter. It is me. It's me. So when I do something in my home, it's going to affect my life. So when I'm completely unconscious of it, then, you know, you can have a bit of a challenge, because there could be things in your home environment that you're just not picking up. Quite a lot of people are intuitive and they're doing things. They don't realize that, oh, that's an interesting Feng Shui principle. Basically, you don't want things in your way. If you've got something physically in your way, so it's difficult to get from your desk somewhere else, you're always having to move something out the way. You just take that principle and think, okay, I'm doing that in my physical space. How am I also doing that in my life? Because my life is connected to my home. And if I'm having to push that out every time, then what am I doing in my work or my life that I could just remove that obstacle and I'd get more flow? So physical obstacles in your space will mean that it's a clue to some kind of obstacle in your life, is one simple way of saying that.
Awesome. I love the way that you grounded that. But my little ears did pick up the word energy, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So you are a gorgeous creator of home spaces. So let's go to Dawn next, who is a completely different case, because she doesn't have a structure as such, or one that she goes back to every night, or she's there every day, but nevertheless the same principles apply. So tell us how you approach this as a digital nomad, Dawn.
Yeah, it's just really interesting listening to Gina there, because I'm on the move every 7 to 10 days. I have to create a new home space every 7 to 10 days. As you can see on the stairway here, well, I don't think you can see crystals there. Ooh, I can't do this. There and there, I can't do the reverse thing. So yeah, I carry crystals with me around the world. I have my pens, I've got my paper, got my laptop. Everything I own is with me in a backpack. 17 kilos on the back and 10 kilos on the front. When I arrive somewhere, or when I'm finding somewhere to stay, it is not just the inside environment, it's the outside environment. It's like, because I'm also vegan as well as gluten-free, I also need to be right near the ocean. If I don't have an ocean view, that's like you've taken away my air supply. And I'm actually, and I'll be doing that a little bit, probably. Hopefully I won't be doing that shortly, because I'm off diving. But it is so important. It's got to be a really quiet area. Like I said, a sea view is necessary. I like, if the ocean is more than 500 meters away, I'm like, whoa, like what? That's just no. And even when I'm on a boat, one of the first things I do as soon as I arrive is I set up my space. And I remember recently I went to a retreat, and I arrived, my room wasn't ready. I'd been traveling and I'm just like, okay, why is my room not ready? I've arrived, I need to set up, I need to get everything sorted. And sometimes it can cause quite, an anxious feeling, because people, as a nomad, you are constantly moving around, and you do have to set up your home base. It really does have an impact on you. And one of the reasons that the apartment that I had back home in Sheffield, I say back home in Sheffield, when I was in Sheffield, one of the reasons why I loved that apartment was because it had huge windows. So it would let a lot of light in, a lot of the sunlight in. And the energy, you could flow all around. There was just, all the doors were open. We took off some of the doors. When I moved into another house, I remember removing all the doors so the energy could flow through. But moving around the world, it's really interesting. I'm actually, for the first time in 4 years, in a co-living space, but which is really, really like, oh my God, there are people here. Like, I have to live with people. I haven't lived with anybody for over 4 years. And it's just, but it's really good because we've all got our own apartment. We've got like individual living spaces. There's a cafe downstairs just for us. We've got our own kitchen. We've got a pool on the roof. So again, the pool on the rooftop, I can see the ocean. But here I have my desk, I have my couch, I have my own like kitchen area. I've got my manifestations on the wall here. Areas I'd like to, like, what do I feel and how I want to feel it. I've got my vision board over there. I've got everything set up because, like Dina says, when you arrive home, you have to set up your life. I've got my crystals behind me. I've got my candles. So one of the things I do when I set up, if I go somewhere and there are no candles, I do request candles on booking.com. Please, if there are candles nearby, can you please purchase them? I always have my lavender. There are certain things I send the hotel or the guest house. These are the things I request. And if you cannot provide them, let me know. And as soon as I arrive, I go and get them. So when I choose a location, it's not just the physical location I'm going to be staying in, but it's the local area. What kind of area is it? Is it a high vibe area? What kind of the quality of the shops nearby? It's all important.
And Dawn, you must have worked that out. Maybe you didn't know it from day one. And I'm just
going to
flag up about how you developed that, because not everybody is present to what's most important for them. And you really need to know that. You must have a view of the sunset. Then when you look to buy a house or stay in a hotel or move, you go, that's my number one priority. Or I want
to non-negotiable.
Exactly. What is not negotiable? And that's how I got the place where I lived. I had 3 things. I must have a view. I must have light. And I'll need a conservatory. And then having, I really was clear about that. And then next day, there it pops up. So not everybody's clear about what they want or where the light comes in.
The other thing that I also have to have is space to dance. Because as you 3 know, Miss Mermaid here loves to dance, and if I haven't got the space to dance around my room or do my workouts in my room, because all my workouts are loaded on my laptop. I have my gym with me, so I have my Pilates bands and my wrist wraps, and I've got to have all of this in a room. And if I don't have the space to do that, then it's a no from Dawn.
So you've got your complete well-being kit, environment kit in 27 kilos of amazing. So let's go to Liana now. Liana is another home lover, as in her home is extremely important to her. It's also extremely beautiful. It's like art all around her. So tell us how important your home is, Liana, and some of your approach to creating an environment that supports your highest life.
Wow, this is such a beautiful conversation. First of all, Gina, good on you. I think that Feng Shui is such an important, I know what an important experience it is. And most people don't know about it. Like you said, most people intuit something, but they don't really know how to put it together. So yeah, for me as an image therapist, so this is our first skin, this is our second skin, and our environment is our third skin. And it is utterly important. I mean, I can't even tell you how important it is. It's like the food we eat. It's like the love we make. It's like the people that are around us. So I wouldn't even know where to start. So everything, you all have heard this before. Jenny, you and I had this conversation about beauty being our birthright. So beauty being our birthright is in every sense of the word. It's not just in our clothes. It's not just in our bodies, how we take care of ourselves. It's the things that we see around us every single day. And for me, it's interesting that we talk about space today, because I was noticing yesterday that I have different corners in my house set up for different moods, set up for different moments. and I find myself
That's so
moving
cool.
around. And yeah. And I'll like sit in one corner and I'll go, no, this doesn't feel right today. I'm going to go turn on the fireplace and I'm going to sit in front of the fireplace. By the way, my fireplace, when I don't use it in the summer, is lit with candles. So I have candles
Nice.
set up like an altar inside the dark hole of the fireplace.
Mhm.
A, so that it's not such a dark hole, and B, so that it's all crystally and light and beautiful and pretty when you can't really light a fireplace in Los Angeles in the middle of July. And I think that one of the things we don't think about is that our mind is constantly accessing, what we see is what we think about, and what we think about comes out of our mouth, falls into our lap, and then it shows up in our life.
Mhm.
So every single piece of art, every single crystal, candles you were talking about, Dawn, I have this ritual that when I'm at home around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I turn on candles all over my house, because I want the progression from dark outside to light inside, and to the romantic, beautiful flow into the evening and my circadian rhythm to be the way it used to be, the way our DNA and our archaic structure is. So I go from light to dusk to candlelight, and it's kind of like a normal kind of a flow, and it's really beautiful. So if there's anything that I can share with all of you, it doesn't matter if your house is big or it's letting light in or it's not. Maybe you're not in a position to do that right now, but what you can do, and the simple thing that we can all do, is put just some fresh flowers. If it's just one rose that you look at that's next to your bed, and the other one is on your dining room table, and the other one is next to your desk, just very simple thing. And if you can just take one tea light, you don't even have to have big expensive candles that are smelling up your house beautifully. You can just do one single tiny tea light in all the spaces, in your bathroom, in your bedroom, on your dining room table, on the kitchen next to you, on the stove, because it's a reminder of the light that you are. So candles for me are really important, besides the fact that I have a beautiful, huge space and I'm grateful for it. And I also realize that most of the world that we talk to, they don't have the ability to do that. So I like to boil it down to the things that are very simple. Take a tea light, put it on. When you light it, say a wish, say a prayer. That's a manifestation. What you think of, what you speak, what you declare onto the world is a way of creating our world into being. A declaration of speech is a declaration of possibility into the future. And the future doesn't happen out there. It happens in this moment as you speak it. So, we all have these beautiful, amazing visions, and then one tea light can make it happen. And that tea light is not just for your vision, it's a reminder of who you are in the world, because one candle can light a million other candles without ever diminishing its own light. So for me, candles have a huge manifestation, a huge vision, a huge importance. And maybe one day we'll share all the corners of our lives and what they look like. I think that would be great, Jenny. If we could share, pictures and corners, or just do a little tour. We could all do tours of our environment.
Oh, I've just had a good idea.
And then, really, we all have good ideas all the time, honey. I was actually going to do that today, and I thought we don't have enough time, but we should. I think we should do it and give people inspiration as to what it looks like.
I think that deserves to be a whole feature.
Yes.
So because
With warning.
each of you, each of us, and it's really interesting today because we're all really focused on our environment. Is that we've learnt so much. So I'm just going to have another quick tour. I'd love to go back to Gina and ask you how you got so passionate about a home being a healthy home? What does a healthy home mean? And can people just start to have a healthy home even if they've got, you know, synthetic carpet and I mean,
and synthetic bed covers and synthetic
and lots of technology in every room
Well, there's various elements having a healthy home. It is a vibrational thing, so I mean, you don't have to understand about energy, but it's a whole leap if you understand about the energetic nature of things. And then let's just take technology. You know, we previously, when technology was galloping, we had the house wired so that you know, we didn't have Wi-Fi. We plugged every computer in. Then, of course, the smartphone comes out. That becomes impossible. So at least turn it off so that when you're asleep, just take care of your sleeping environment. You know, there's a few things. Number one, sleep. Take care of your sleeping environment. So take out the busyness of the atmosphere. Make the space where you're sleeping nice. Yes, you know, the gradation of light is a great idea with the candles. Try not to work in your sleeping space. And if you are going to work in your sleeping space because you're tight on space, make it so you can't see the work when you're going to sleep. And then vibrationally take away that electronics, turn off the Wi-Fi. You know, that's one aspect. The minimum of chemicals, you know, so I've always used ecological natural paint, so I don't have chemicals coming from the walls through varnishes and glosses and paints and things like that. So minimum of chemicals, cleaning chemicals as well, natural materials. So you're bringing natural things in, natural materials. I mean, I still have, you know, there'll be a chair with something that's made of a synthetic fiber, but the emphasis is always on natural materials where possible. And I never have any room spray that's chemical. I don't have one of those plug-in. I'm not filling the air with anything unnatural. And, you know, vibrationally also, I spent a lot of effort in making my home filled with love. There's something about what I've done in my intention and my love of the space, so that when people come in, they go,
it's like a hug.
Yeah, they this feel lovely. Those people who are sensitive, and other people just enjoy coming in the space. Not everybody is hypersensitive, but those people who can register energy will feel that something's been happening there, that the house has been created through the harmonics of the space. As I say, not everybody can create that from scratch, but you can create it with intention. Candles and you know, natural materials, and taking the technology vibes down, so that the space feels energetically nourishing. You can actually feel the difference. It's not so busy.
Yeah, electromagnetic frequency is something that we have absolute control over, even if you can't take the carpet up. So Dawn, a natural environment for you is absolutely essential. You're I mean, that is your home. The outdoors,
the ocean,
the sea, the jungle.
I don't know. There's too many mosquitoes in the jungle. Yeah.
Look at the
look at the face.
The sea better than the jungle. I get it.
Yeah. Because there's no bugs at sea. That's the great thing about it. Well, one of the great things.
You mentioned earlier on about when you get to a new place, which you do frequently, you want to set yourself up so that you feel good. But it's also because you're a prodigious and prolific writer, and that you absolutely need a space which is conducive to long periods of focus and productivity. So how would you say that the way that you set things up, that ritual of setting things up, how does that contribute to you kind of, you know, getting out another bestseller?
I think one of the things that we have to pay attention to in our space is the amount of stuff we have. Because the amount of stuff we have, or the amount of baggage we carry, is for me, it's an indication of the other stuff that we're carrying emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And if we're holding on to things from the past, I mean, every time I move on, I mean, I mean, if you saw my wardrobe, ladies, you like all my clothes will probably fit in one. I always wanted a walk-in wardrobe, and I actually got one when I was in Brazil. And it was so funny because all the clothes I have fitted in one drawer. I was like, oh, that was pointless. But again, for me, it's like the amount of things that I carry. Like I carry books with me as well, rather than having a Kindle, because obviously I'm writing a book on a laptop all the time. So for me, I switch off, and everyone's like, why don't you just get a Kindle? I'm like, because I like a proper book. I like to protect my eyesight by not always being on a screen all the time. I'm doing a lot of podcasts, so I have a distance. I have my headphones, and so for me, the baggage that we have in our home, the stuff we're collecting in our home, it needs cleansing. I do it every full moon. I used to cleanse my social media platforms until I deleted them. And so that has been amazing. Like the amount of freedom I have, and freedom is my key. That's my highest value. Freedom from carrying stuff, but also talking about how the natural light. So where I live, wherever I go, has to be. It's not in the city. It can't be. Some cities here in Latin America that are right on the coast, like Cartagena or Recife, and all these different places that I always find a hotel out of the city on the coast, because all the lights and all the traffic, it's a noise distortion. So with what Liana was saying, what I tend to do is, as it's getting to be dusk, I light all my candles, and I switch off all the lights. And I switch off all my tech, and I read a book, or I do my journaling, or I get creative and I do my and I start dancing, and just do a bit of Dorney crazy. And for me, it is getting back to what's really important and the natural flow of energy. We've forgotten to eat seasonally. We eat vegetables all time around that are mass produced, force fed, force grown, which is not good for our body. I won't go anywhere. I mean, if you see me in a supermarket, something has gone drastically wrong in the world, because they're just really toxic environments. And even when I get to a place and I've set up my crystals and I put up all my vision boards and I put up my mind maps, I put my sarong over the TV, because I don't want to see it. And even like the fridge freezer that I've got there's a scarf over the fridge freezer, and I've just laid out my pens. I've got the Buddha that was somewhere else, and I rearrange all the furniture so it fits my routine. And then the other things that I wanted to pick up on that Gina was saying was the chemicals, because as someone who goes diving, I see a lot of coral, and the chemicals that are in our homes, the chemicals we put in on our body, the chemicals that we're cleaning outside with, but also the chemicals we're putting in our body, is actually killing us off. And the corals around the world that are dying, these are animals that are dying. We're killing them. A lot of the boat marinas around the world, like when we're cleaning the boats, we don't need chemicals. We just need a lemon or an orange. Like when you've been cutting the lemons for your salad, you've got half of it left, just rub the lemon over the worktop and wipe it down again. It's fresh lemon scented. It's natural. You're composting at the same time. But when we're washing the boats and it's going through the pumps and all the systems into the marinas, it's going out into the ocean. So completely natural. But yeah, and the sleep, when we tap into the natural flow and we've switched off all the lights, we're away from the city center, we've switched off all our Wi-Fi, and we've actually transitioned into the nighttime, we actually find we sleep naturally. We sleep deeper. I don't have any alarms either. I never set an alarm. Never, ever do I set an alarm, because it puts your body into this fright mode, and it dumps a load of cortisol in your body. It's called an alarm for a reason. I wake up naturally when my body tells me to. And if I've gone to bed the night before, I said, I've got a meeting at such and such a time, my body knows now. I'm so in tune with what I need to do that's just how it is.
Let me jump in there. So
yeah.
What I'm hearing from you is, and what is really, really, really admirable and beautiful, is that you've identified the values that you hold dearest, and that you make those your priority in your lifestyle, even if it's completely different to what other people, which is, and it's completely in harmony with your vocation and your mission and your purpose. So let's come to Liana, who was talking about beauty again, and why beauty is so important in our lives, why it feeds our senses, why and it isn't just about having expensive things either, is it?
No, not at all. It has nothing to do with the amount of money. Look, I was in India in 2019, and what was so impressive to me is that, we would go into people's homes and they had nothing. And everything was beautiful. Like, everything was colorful. Everything was being honored, like their homes and their bodies and their clothing and their the way they share their food. It was being honored, and in the West or in America, I see that we don't do that. Look, I have a lot of conversations around daily aspects of living, because clothing is dressing is an embodied action. And so is the choices that we make in our cups or our silverware or our crystal. And then people say to me, oh, but that's so much work, or it's so much money. And I said, no, it's actually not. You can go to the Salvation Army and you can buy a crystal glass for $2. And when you drink your water or your wine out of something that is so beautiful, the neurolinguistic programming, the visual and the tactile, and the expectation of you living your life in a really honoring, beautiful way, that all goes into our system. So when I say one rose in a water glass, it doesn't even have to be an expensive crystal vase by Waterford or Lalique. It's like if you could see my house right now, there's lilies, because lilies are in season right now. And my nickname is Lily. There are lilies all over my house, and they exude a scent that is just so sensual and rich and gorgeous. My nose listens, my ears smell, my skin speaks. And so we don't live our lives in this embodied way, where we really bring everything that's in our homes, in our lives, in our speech, in our action, in our visual, in our tactility. Jenny, you and I have had these conversations about sensuality. Everything speaks sensuality. Everything. The words we choose, the crystal we choose, the tablecloths we choose. And so when I look at my world and I see clutter, whether it's on my laptop or whether it's on my kitchen table or whether it's in my fridge, it doesn't matter. I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on in my brain? Because when it's in my brain, it shows up in my life, and vice versa. Like Dawn was saying, how much stuff do we have? And so every single moment of every single day, life is beckoning. There's an invitation that life sends out, the world sends out to us, and we have a symbiotic relationship with everything that's around us. From people to places to possessions to possibilities, all of it. So
totally, the whole concentration on feeding nourishing the senses is so important, because we're sensual beings. You mentioned earlier on about going in somewhere and it being the first thing you do is smell it almost before seeing it. You're going to smell it, and your body's body.
Yeah. A book.
Yeah, look,
smelling a book.
I don't know if this is okay to say, because we're live and I don't know where else this is going to be shown, but I am going to say it, and maybe later you can bleep it out. I say to my clients, it doesn't matter whether it's a pencil or a penis, you have to smell it before you put it in your mouth. So, I swear to God, I don't care what it is that you're feeding yourself.
I love you, Liana.
Smell it. You want to smell the roses. You want to smell, food, clothing, cashmere that comes from Kashmir. It smells different than cashmere that comes from India. That silk that comes from India and China, and people don't realize that you smell your clothes when you open a box of clothing that you just ordered from Amazon, and it comes out of the box, and you touch it. You go, ooh, or you go, yes.
Touch is so like, oh my God, like when you touch your skin or your food, you get your hands in your food, and it's just
So smell is, our olfactory system is the oldest system that we have. When we fall out of our mother's womb, the first beauty we encounter is the beauty of scent. And then it's the beauty of visual.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, hopefully we won't get bounced off of YouTube for that, but it is very, it is. We seem to have always be being bounced off somewhere. So I want to kind of bring everything of that together, because my experience is I moved many times in my life, partly in the beginning because my parents were real estate agents, and they just kept falling in love with other houses. So we moved a lot. And then because I had multiple marriages and divorces, so I was always moving, and I learnt how to create a beautiful home everywhere I went with nothing at all. So one thing that I carried around with me, and I still carry, is I always have them, is a pile of colored cloths, and they can be cushions, they can be curtains, they can be tablecloths, they can just be pieces of, ends of lines of material. And I just kept collecting them. And I'm not attached to objects. I'm not particularly attached to objects. Very few objects. I love to reinvent an environment everywhere I go. I'm addicted to decorating. So, but these cloths, I couldn't let them go. So after a while, a few years ago, somebody told me a Keats poem which mentions cloths of heaven. So they are now my cloths of heaven. Go with me everywhere, and I give them away, and then I replenish them, and I give them away, and I replenish them, because you can drape color on everything. You can drape color everywhere, and it doesn't have to cost anything. You can put color over a desk, over a television, over a computer, hide something over a table. There is nowhere that you can't put color with cloth. So cloths of heaven, which don't cost anything, just colored cloths that you can collect, are one of the most beautiful things to have, in your arsenal of kind of, not tools, accessories to keep your house beautiful. And I'm just going to take this right back up to the top of the conversation. Is one of the because my parents were estate agents, we lived in very comfortable houses, and my mother they both had great taste. So they redecorated, they changed their furniture, every single house. So I got used to a complete change of environment with each house, but it was always an upgrade. Now I have had a few downgrades in my life that I have pulled up, because I realize instinctively that having a beautiful environment, even if it was just a three room apartment, was going to, as Gina said in the beginning, to draw me forward to a better life, or the next phase in my life, or an upgrade, or a vision, or a dream. So that has now become a habit. So you've heard the habit, feeling like $1 million. When I, on a Sunday morning, there is nothing I love better than to flow around my house, just literally flow, rearrange things, just little spaces that I keep looking at a few vases here and thinking Sunday I'm just going to rearrange them, because the rearrangement of them will give me such pleasure, and they'll look even better. And then I'll probably find another cross to change. And all of that makes you feel like $1 million. So if you're feeling like $1 million in in your environment, then that is what you're going to attract. So all of this beautiful advice that you've been listening to is a way to raise your vibration. We've talked about energy and manifestation. All of my ladies understand that this science. Maybe if you're listening to this, you may be a little bit new to this, but the environment, your home environment where you live, whether you're on a boat and on and off a boat, or wherever you are in the world, whatever country, you mentioned it earlier on, Liana, just simple people with beautiful colors. It really is one of your biggest foundations for bettering your life. So I want you to invite you, if you've enjoyed this, to comment wherever you see this on YouTube, Facebook. Please ask some questions, because we'll be looking back at this, and you are very, very welcome to ask questions on any of the topics that you've heard now. I also want to invite you to subscribe to the magazine on the URL at the bottom of the screen. As I said, all of my ladies are part of the Preeminence Posse, and they're a posse because they're powerful, and anything else that begins with P that is amazing. Preeminent. So you have the wisdom of 8 and soon to be 12 ladies on all topics of a high vibe lifestyle, of holistic success, of living your best life, and it's free. So help yourself to a better life, please, and go and sign up at that URL on the bottom there. You will get your free copy of this edition. The current edition will drop into your inbox, and you will get the next edition. You also have access to all of the editions. There is so much wisdom in there, wealth wisdom and communications and relationships, and just about everything that you can think of to live your highest life. So thank you for listening today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please come and follow us. Come and follow us on Facebook, House of Preeminence, and find all these ladies. You've seen their names. And find them on social media, or not all on social media.
Don't find me.
Certainly find your gorgeous books and your gorgeous articles. So this is the place. The Vogue of Feminine High Performance. This is the place. I wish you a gorgeous rest of your Wednesday, and we will be back next week with another Preeminence Posse live. Thank you, ladies.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Wonderful. Thank you.